The South Sahara Social Development Organization, SSDO, with its partners, the MacArthur Foundation and Centre for Public Education for Development in Nigeria, CEPAD, have organized a radio school dissemination workshop. The executive director of SSDO spoke on the importance of the workshop and gave a summary of Project Radio School.
Radio School is all about putting the curriculum lessons of the JSS2 students in CDs, where we air it on radio, both in some radio stations in Adamawa and then in Enugu. We have days allotted to airing of this CD lessons, where students have the opportunity of listening to the radio, and it's an in-school thing because we air it in the morning hours where they listen to it, and then they have a teacher that coordinates the student, because while in school they have a radio with them where they listen to this class, and then questions they have they address to the teachers, and questions outside that period we also have teachers that have been assigned to respond to questions that the students can call in on a toll-free line and ask questions, and then the trained teachers do respond to these questions beyond their listening to the lessons after school time. So anytime after school they call these numbers, and then they get attention from the trained teachers that respond to the questions, and it's on English language, mathematics, basic science, and then civic education.
CEPAD and MacArthur representatives commended SSDO on launching the Radio School program.
The objective and the goals of the Radio School is quite narrowly defined, and which is, how do you complement the teaching and the learning in schools? The external and other related challenges will not be solved. However, if we were to look at the contributions of the Radio School as a program, I think many of us will remember growing up how we were able to have access to resources even after school hours. That is one of the things that the Radio School has helped to recreate, that even when students are out of school, they have access to teacher, they have access to content. And I think as government begins to see systems and formulas that have worked, government should encourage it by putting money into such framework. But in addition to that, there are quite a number of development partners who are big spenders in the education sector. The DFID, the USAID, the World Bank. I think there are a number of domestic development partners as well. T.Y. Danjuma is a leading player in that field. All of these organizations are spending a lot of money already. I think more will have to be invested to expand the benefit and build on the achievements of what we are celebrating today.
Radio School program has been designed in order to cater for the less privileged people, especially in the northern states of the country. Many children have been displaced from the various places of abode, from schools, and they are now handicapped educationally. So Radio School program has come in to help augment the teaching that these students have lost, because some have not been attending schools. And through radio, they can be able to listen to the programs in different subjects.
Dr. Chichi Aniagolu-Okeke, a board member of SSDO, who also spoke at the event, had this to say.
But we know that technology could never replace a physical school. But we recognize that with Nigeria's population, with the dwindling funds and resources available, it is going to be increasingly difficult to have every child in a classroom and with the quality of education that is required. So we must continue to look for alternative means. And I think that the radio is one of the best and the cheapest way of getting education to kids. Well, as you know, with most programs, there's always, limitations. The radio is not visual, so it's difficult for the kids to see the teacher. And so that was one limitation. I think another limitation is also the fact that there was no feedback. So the kids could not immediately ask the teacher a question because it was not a live program, it was pre-recorded. But of course it would have been impossible to make it a live program because with thousands of people listening, if everybody could ask a question, it would have been impossible. But we tried to mitigate that by having radio teachers radio school teachers who the kids could call on the phone free of charge completely to ask questions. Because the program was also an in-school program, the kids who were in school could ask their class teachers, because the radio school was being done during school time. So they could ask their teachers those questions. We're really appealing to the state government, because this was meant to be a pilot to demonstrate whether the radio could be a good learning means. And we have demonstrated from the reports that we have that indeed the kids were able to improve their learning outcome. We have the lessons for the 4 subjects for GSS2. We are appealing to any state government that wants them. We're ready to give it to you free of charge, as long as you can put them on the radio for the kids to continue to listen to. We're also interested in supporting, having partnerships where we can replicate the radio school at the primary level, because in implementing the project, we noticed that the foundation is actually very weak. Primary education is very poor. So by the time the kids come to secondary school, they're really struggling. So if we could have a basic education radio program for kids at that level, I think that will make a difference.
Some beneficiaries of the program said how it had significantly impacted positively on their academics.
I've benefited a lot because radio school helped me to improve my education. Like during lesson, before my teacher teach me some topic, I've already learned from the radio school. And when the teacher comes to teach, it will be like a revision to me. So it's really helped me.
Radio school has helped me to improve in my academics. It has helped me to discover my talents. It has also served as an encouragement to me, because after the quiz and the competitions, we went home with gifts. So it served as an encouragement to us and helped me to study harder and to know the importance of education.
What I benefited from the radio school is since radio school started, I have acquired more knowledge and developed skills, and I also improved in studying. I studied very hard through radio quiz. It helped me to discover my talent, and also it helped me in reading and writing, and also it improves my academic activities, and also I learned a lot from it.
The principal of Government Day Secondary School from Adamawa State and a liaison officer from Enugu State were full of praises for the radio school program, emphasizing on the fact that it did not just help the students but also help the teachers hone their teaching skills.
The Sub-Saharan Development Organization has really improved our students so tremendously. At least the first that gives me joy is the listening ability. You see the eagerness of them to listen to the radio, solving questions in mathematics. I was so impressed with it, and I pray that they will continue that way.
I'm telling you, the impact of radio school should not be overemphasized. Particularly the problem I'm having now, I can say, is as a result of lack of radio school. Well, after or during that insurgency, things were scattered, people were running helter-skelter, but by the help of this radio school, you'll discover that when the time comes, the unfortunate student or the privileged student will come to my school and then stay outside the window for the complete period of the lesson. They listened attentively without this. But now when the radio school stopped, they now come to harass the student in the school. I can't hide this, I'm telling you. So I'm looking for this radio school. I'm looking for this radio school right now as a kind of to come and rescue us from the problems we are having with those underprivileged student that moves about without having access to go to the formal school system.
They therefore called on all arms of government, NGOs and individuals to support and revive the radio school program.
We are grateful to SSDO and CEPAD for bringing radio school to us. Thank you.